This evening, Ministry of Public Telecommunications hosts its first press conference of the year. The government's considered a standardized license plate system in 2015. Tonight we ask what happened to that. Fake schools continue to plague Guyana. In the region, Jamaica declares a state of emergency. And international, a border dispute between Egypt and Sudan is tearing communities apart.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Today is Monday, January the 22nd, 2018, and this edition of Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Commissioner of the Guyana Police Force, Silal Prasad, has resumed his duties today. Prasad had proceeded on 4 months vacation leave and was slated to return to work on November 24, 2017. However, Prasad will resume duties until his retirement, which is slated for April of this year. According to Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjatan, Prasad was asked to remain on leave, quote, in the interest of the public, end quote. Ramjatan instructed Prasad to go on special leave until further notice so as to allow for the continuation of initiatives and innovations being pursued by the Guyana Police Force's temporary administration. David Ramnarine performed the duties of the police commissioner in Prasad's absence. Ramnarine is currently out of the country. The Ministry of Public Telecommunications hosted their first press conference of 2018. Wendell Jeffrey was there and filed this report.
One of the most pressing questions asked at today's press conference had to do with the most anticipated liberalization of the telecommunications sector. Minister of Public Telecommunications, Cathy Hughes, deflected the question to the expert on the issue, Chief Executive Officer of the e-governance, Mr. Floyd Levi.
So at the moment, we use GT&T for our internet. They provide the internet to all of the activities that we conduct, mostly along the coastline. For the hinterland, particularly those communities that we have shown on the slide, GT&T is not providing services in many of those areas, shown you around Barometer and elsewhere. So for some of those areas, we use private telecommunication providers, service providers, using satellite system to provide internet to those communities. So following our competitive bidding process, IMON Telecommunication Services was selected.
In addressing GT&T's near monopoly over the sector, Minister Hughes said that the current negotiations are allowing for the best offers on all sides.
If you recognize that GT&T and AT&I have had a monopoly situation that's lasted, over 20 years, then you can understand that from the perspective of both parties, they want to make sure that they are coming to the table to get the best.
Hughes said that the government is also very interested in their piece of the financial pie and what is best for the Guyanese people.
At the end of the day, the GRA, the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the Commissioner General have wanted to make sure that they're covering all their bases from the financial end, and also to ensure that at the end of the day, on the government side, we want to make sure that we get a deal that is going to be good for the people of Guyana.
Putting aside the fears of continued monopolizing of the telecommunications system in Guyana, the subject minister noted,
we believe that competition brings several more positive opportunities to citizens.
The minister offered no specifics as it related to when the liberalization of the telecommunications sector will go into effect, except to say,
and therefore the focus is not on getting this done in the shortest space of time, but making sure that we come up with an end game that suits everyone.
For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. The Guyana Sugar Corporation plans to lay off 957 more employees in the near future, with 300 to go by the end of this month, according to Chief Industrial Relations Manager Deodat Suku. The corporation is moving to let go of some clerical, mechanical tillage, and field workshop employees who were retained at the Skeldon, Rose Hall, and Enmore, as well as Wales estates, when the majority of workers were sent home on December 29, 2017. GUYANA was in talks with the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to allow some of their irrigation workers to assist the NDIA in coastal drainage. The agreement did not pan out. GUYANA will retain employees who provide drainage and irrigation services and those who provide security. However, some workers who are promised additional D&I work will have to be let go. The Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union expressed displeasure over the decision. The union believes that rather than displacing the workers, the NDIA could utilize the workers' services accordingly and compensate GUYANA. The layoffs will take effect once the Special Purposes Unit, or SPU, takes full control of GUYANA's assets. For years, unscrupulous persons have opened for-profit universities in Guyana with the intention of scamming unsuspecting students out of their money. In this report, Esther Sobers tells us of the latest of a long list of fake schools to come to Guyana.
The National Accreditation Council advises the public that the American Medical Institution at Critchell Labor College is not registered with the NAC. Post-secondary and tertiary educational institutes operating in Guyana must receive the approval of the council before they can legally offer degrees to the public. NAC Representative Sule Finley Williams noted that the school may have been in operation for a few months. When asked if any penalties will be enforced Williams said,
"As it is right now, we are still we're working on our regulations. They are with the Minister of Education at this point, as far as I am aware. So by law, yes, we can apply penalties, but I think until our regulations are approved and receive the requisite approval and so on, we're not able to enforce."
Channel 2 Headline News visited the school. No one could be found and the classrooms were empty. According to the council, the president of the school may have fled the country, leaving students out of money and out of a degree.
Some of the students are unable to find the principal or the owner of the operation, so it seems as if he or she has gone on the ground.
Unfortunately, this is just part of a recent trend of unaccredited for-profit schools that scam unsuspecting Guyanese students. Medical schools were the main choice for these scammers. Now, with the discovery of petroleum, ads for certification in oil and gas have sprung up on Facebook. Finley Williams explained that these programs are also unaccredited.
But I can tell you definitively that we don't have any institution registered to offer oil and gas right now.
The NAC has made it clear that the onus remains on the prospective students to ensure that these programs of choice is approved by the council. Inquiries can be made by email at info@nac.gov.gy or on Facebook at National Accreditation Council Guyana or via telephone number 225-8360. A list of registered institutions can also be found on the NAC website at www.nac.gov.gy. I'm Esther Sobers reporting for Channel 2 Headline News.
Thanks, Esther. This afternoon, the Critchlow Labor College released a statement declaring that they have no association with the American Medical Institution whatsoever. Additionally, they state that all of the programs they currently offer are accredited by the NAC. Don't go away. We'll have more news for you after the break. Stay with us. For the best Creole food in town, come to Ridley's Restaurant. Taste our hot meals, fresh bread, and sweet pastries. Our spacious dining hall is free for all occasions. For reservations and more, call 226-2518 or 225-7245. We're open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wrigley's Restaurant, located at 38 Robb Street, Laceytown, between King and Wellington Streets. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Ridley's Restaurant. tasty and healthy eating.
Know who I am. I know who I am. I am yours. I am yours. I know who I am. Oh, I know who I am. I know who I am. I am yours. I am yours. And you are mine.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Welcome back. A gold miner who was robbed by 4 males early this morning was able to apprehend one of his attackers. The suspect, a 16-year-old student who resides in Kitty, Georgetown, was found in possession of one of the victim's phones. According to police reports, the robbery happened at about 12:30 a.m. near the Kitty seawall. The 30-year-old victim was standing on the Kitty public road awaiting a taxi when the suspects, one armed with a gun, pounced and robbed him of 2 cellular phones and a sum of cash. As the suspects were fleeing the scene, the victim pursued them and apprehended the youth. Because of an injured foot, the boy was unable to keep up with the rest of his accomplices. The juvenile is in custody and is assisting with the investigation. The Ministry of Public Telecommunications, in conjunction with the United Nations Development Program, is working to bring internet to thousands of low-income and remote hinterland communities. Wendell Jeffrey tells us more.
The United Nations Development Fund, UNDP, and the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Communications, have entered into an agreement to increase the numbers of ICT hubs in hinterland, poor, and remote communities. The ticket price is about 3.5 billion Guyana dollars. ICT is the abbreviation for Information, Communication, and Technology.
Our partner entity, as I said before, is the UNDP. The cost of the project is $17 million.
At a press conference today, CEO of the e-governance agency, Floyd Levi, said that the purpose of the project is to deliver critical government services to the designated people and communities.
Please note that the anticipated impact is really to ensure that government services are delivered to those residents who are not necessarily getting effective government services because of where they live and because of their economic and social status. The project is meant to enhance our sustainable human development, not only of the residents in HPRCs which we are focusing on, but by extension, all Guyanese, whether they live at home or abroad.
There are 3 governing pillars of the project.
Policy development, access to ICTs, the physical access to ICTs, the equipment.
The other pillar involves capacity building, both for the providers of the service and the users. Included in the project design and policy development are cybersecurity, data protection, e-government, and e-business.
It must be recognized that a framework has to be developed where all of the protocols governing government's use of public data is established.
There are currently 16 ICT hubs in the hinterland and other targeted communities serving thousands of Guyanese. The funding allows for an additional 200 ICT hubs by the end of the 5-year life of this project.
So, to answer the last part of the question, government has already supported the installation of the hubs that are currently shown on the slide here. As we move forward under the project, the ICT Access and Services project, we have set ourselves a target in the project document of 200 hubs for those areas. A minimum of 200 hubs.
For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Last night, a 30-year-old motorcyclist allegedly rode into the rear of a stationary vehicle on Waller's Delight Public Road, West Coast Demerara. Reports indicated that Capaldia was proceeding west along the southern carriageway of the road on his motorcycle at about 1900 hours. He allegedly lost control and collided with motorcar PDD 4714, which was parked on the southern corner of the road. The victim, who after the impact fell onto the surface of the road and sustained injuries, is now being treated at the Georgetown Public Hospital and is listed in serious condition. He was originally transferred from the West Demerara Regional Hospital in an unconscious state and remains in said condition at the time. The driver of the vehicle is in custody and is assisting with the investigation. For years, the Guyana police force has bemoaned the widespread use of fake license plates in the commissioning of crimes. In 2015, the government all but approved the formation of a standardized license plate. But years later, and nothing has changed. Esther Sobers did some digging to find out what is stalling the process.
In July 2015, the then Minister of Governance, Raphael Trotman, announced that the government had plans to standardize license plates in Guyana.
We approved as well a proposal to establish a centralized system for the issuance of vehicle license plates. These plates would include special security features. There has been a complaint, particularly by the security forces, that anyone can manufacture license plate, and license plates are not only manufactured by anyone or anywhere, but they're not uniform and not keeping up with regulations.
Then, in July 2016, Minister Joseph Harmon announced that the GRA was just weeks away from selecting a company to design the plates. The plates would include modern security features that would greatly aid in security forces in identifying errant drivers and fighting crime. More specifically, crimes that involve the use of cars with fake registration numbers. He noted that the proposal received overwhelming support from the Cabinet, the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the Guyana Police Force. The government has even received proposals from a few companies such as Eurosign, a sign company from the United States. Nonetheless, it has been over 2 years and no word from anyone about this proposed plan. Given the seemingly long wait for a very beneficial program, Channel 2 Headline News sought to learn what is slowing the process. We made contact with GRA regarding this matter. After several requests, the tax authority responded. Senior Communication Officer Gavin Lowe sent an email stating, quote, "Please be advised that the standardization and issuing of license plates for motor vehicles is being considered by the Ministry of Public Security," end quote. For Channel 2 Headline News, I'm Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Do you think that the government should institute such a system, or is it unnecessary? Tell us on our Facebook page. Join us after the break, where we look at Guyana, the region, and beyond. Stay with us.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you have a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Know who I am. I know who I am. I am yours. I am yours. I know who I am. Oh, I know who I am. I know who I am. I am yours. I am yours. And you are mine.
For the best Creole food in town, come to Ridley's Restaurant. Taste our hot meals, fresh bread, and sweet pastries. Our spacious dining hall is free for all occasions. For reservations and more, call 226-2518 or 225-7245. We're open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wrigley's Restaurant, located at 38 Robb Street, Laceytown, between King and Wellington Streets. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Ridley's Restaurant. Tasty and healthy eating. Welcome back. And we now take a look at the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, Attorney General Faris Al-Rahi said amendments to legislation dealing with terrorism are expected to be presented when the Parliament sits this week. He said his office has compiled a list comprising of 353 persons involved in terrorism. Al-Rawahi's comments come as families who journeyed to Syria and Iraq joining terrorist group ISIS are now returning home to Trinidad. On Thursday, the Prime Minister of Jamaica issued a state of emergency to address the surge of murders in Montego Bay. Montego Bay has seen its murder rate rise over several years, with a record 335 deaths in 2017. The move has been lauded by both the opposition as well as local business groups. And internationally, a border dispute between Egypt and Sudan is tearing communities apart. Relations have deteriorated over the past year in the Halayeb Triangle, a 20,000 square kilometer area by the Red Sea. Sudan accuses Egypt of killing its people and has deployed troops to the border. Al Jazeera's Hiba Morgan reports from the Sudanese-Egyptian border.
Muhammad Ahmed has always identified himself as a Sudanese from the Bushiri tribe, which comes from the border area. But that makes it difficult to get goods and resources to reach the little town of Osaif where he lives. That's because Osaif, in northeastern Sudan, is the closest town to the disputed border between Sudan and Egypt in the triangle known as Halayb, which Egypt continues to hold.
Some people say that the Busharis are now part of Egypt, but in our hearts we are not Egyptians. None of us say we are Egyptians, and even Egyptians don't accept us as part of them.
Muhammad says he has to obtain permits from Egyptian authorities to cross into Halayb, as do many people who live in Osaif but have families in the triangle. The dispute over Halayb, a region rich in oil and minerals, started when Sudan gained independence in 1956 and borders were drawn up. Over the past few years, the dispute has escalated, with Sudan accusing Egypt of harassing its citizens when they cross into the region and executing dozens of them in the past 12 months alone. That fence marks the beginning of the disputed area of the Halayb Triangle. Egypt has stationed forces there for more than 2 decades, despite protests from the Sudanese government. Recently, Halayb has been at the forefront of increased tensions between the two countries. Tensions exacerbated by Sudan's support for Ethiopia's plans to build a hydroelectric dam, which will reduce the amount of water reaching Egypt. Sudan has repeatedly complained to the UN Security Council over Halaib and wants the dispute solved through arbitration. Egypt has failed to respond. In protest, Sudan recalled its ambassador to Egypt earlier this month.
They're treating our people there inhumanely. There's killings and torture. That's why we met here at the Parliament and are taking steps so that it's no longer a regional issue, but also an international one.
Sudan has deployed troops on the border. Egypt says it doesn't want a war with its neighbors.
We will not engage in a war with our brothers or anyone else. Any pounds spent on disputes or conflict should be directed to our people.
For those living in Oseife, it's not the military escalation they're worried about, but the relatives they have living in the Triangle who have lost their land to Egypt and may lose their identity too. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, from the Sudan-Egyptian border.
And now for your 7-day weather forecast. Here's this week's bridge retraction schedule and today's foreign currency exchange rates. And that's Channel 2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 Headline News on Facebook and YouTube. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast, and Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast, saying thank you for welcoming us into your homes, and do have a blessed day.